Howdy, my name is Ethan Alquist, and I'm going to be demonstrating something I think is really cool in Vim that you can't do otherwise. So, just getting started, I am basically going to be creating this pretty big macro to gather data from this file over here. This is basically a LaTeX document containing my resume. I'm trying to copy this information into a JSON file over here, and that'll just make it easier for me to maybe have a script to generate my resume depending on like what companies I'm applying to. So I think this is a pretty useful tool for extracting this information. So just getting started, I'm going to add my cursor above the first experience so I can search for it and then get to the first tag I want to find. So as you know, you can start a macro using Q and then some key you want to bind it to. So I bound it to W somewhat on accident. I'm going to add this next dictionary containing the experience. I'm going to add a title, and I am going to shift over to this side. And I'm going to go one word over. I'm going to yank inside the quote. I'm going to paste it. I'm going to add the quotation mark. And this is kind of repetitive, but better safe than sorry. So I'll take it a little bit slow. I'll add the quote, and then I'm going to shift over to the next field. And instead of doing a find, I'm going to start doing a search for the next bracket. I think that's been causing an issue with what I am yanking. So I'm going to yank inside bracket. I'm going to shift over here. I'm going to paste it. I'm going to put a quotation, and then I'm going to do time. That was bad typing. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to find the bracket, hit enter. I'm going to yank inside bracket, and I'm going to shift back over here and then type. Seems like something's going on with the syntax highlighting, but I don't think it's an issue. So I'm going to start with my tags. This doesn't have any information yet, so I'm just going to leave it blank with an empty list. Then I'm going to add descriptions. Sean. I'm going to add the quotes, add the bracket. And this one's going to be a list of things, so I'm going to add the bracket for the front of the list. And then I'm going to shift over to the other side. So I'm going to find item, and I'm going to hit it 3 times. And I'm going to use these items as a separator for my macro. So I'm going to substitute item with some quotes and some commas to represent that it's a new element in a list. So I'm going to skip this first one. I'm going to select with a visual selection. I think, yeah, I got a visual selection going. I'm going to search for itemize. I'm going to go to the beginning of the line. I'm going to go up 1, and I'm going to go to the end of the line. I'm going to yank that. I'm going to paste it after here, and then I'm going to go using the curly brace as a movement command. I'm going to go to the end of the paragraph and I'm going to perform a substitution on it. I know that we're going to match a new line, so I'm going to add that new line character. I'm going to add a bunch of spaces. I'm going to match the item tag, and then match the space. And unfortunately, I forgot to change the highlighting on the substitution again, but I'm going to add a quote. I'm going to add a comma, and I'm going to add a new line character, and then I'm going to tab a couple of times to get it lined up with the other previous list element, and I'm going to add a quote. Basically, we have separated the elements of the list into the JSON format. I'm going to hit enter, and then I am going to again go to the end of the line using the paragraph movement command, and then add a quote. Then we're going to add a bracket indicating the end of the list, and then again we're going to add the curly brace to represent the end of the dictionary. And I'm going to tab that out to where it's supposed to be. I'm going to hit exit, and then we're at the end of the line. This should be the end of the macro, so I'm going to hit Q to end it, and then we're going to try and see if it worked. So looking at that, that seems to be doing quite well. Although there's a bit of weird formatting with this last curly brace, besides that, everything is looking pretty great with this macro. And I believe I can just keep on hitting it. Well, I might want to undo that. So I undo that, redo that, and then essentially what this means is I'll have to fix that issue every time I do this. Since I got moved to the experience to an experience I didn't want to do just yet, I'm gonna have to move up to this point above the experience that I want to use the macro on, and then run it again. So I'm going to do the @w, and there could be a thing where I create a macro wrapper to fix this last issue at the bottom where it has this indentation, but I'm just going to skip it. I think you get the idea. I'm going to run it again, and it seems like there's one more element to run this on, so I'll go ahead and do that. Yeah, there's one more element to do it on, so I will run the W, and that seems to be the last one. And that's just a lot of work done with a macro that it would have had me grabbing everything separately. So I think this is something that you could only do in Vim, and I think it's very beneficial. Yeah, and it's extendable, so you can change it to fit your needs in any way. Thank you for listening to this video, and have a good one.